Takashi Kimuro is separated from his childhood crush Rei Miyamoto. Outside, he witnesses a zombie known as them attack at the front of the school. Takashi goes to warn Rei and his best friend Hisashi, who is dating Rei, and the three escape just before news of the attack spreads across the school. The three run into Mr. Wakasaka, a former teacher who has become a zombie. Mr. Wakasaka bites Hisashi in the arm before Takashi smashes him. They barricade themselves on the rooftop to witness self-defense force helicopters flying in to combat the zombie outbreak in the city, oblivious to the carnage in the school. Hisashi begins succumbing to his injury. He asks Takashi to push him over the edge of the roof so that he can at least die as himself. Rei tries to stop Takashi, but it's already too late. Hisashi has turned into a zombie. Takashi kills him with a bat before he can hurt anyone else. Rei insults Takashi, and he almost leaves to face the zombies alone. But she quickly apologizes and the two embrace each other thoroughly. As two other survivors, Seiya Takagi and Kota Hirano, try to avoid the zombies, Rei tries to contact her father. He tells her the city is in complete chaos and that she should leave as soon as possible before being cut off. Meanwhile, in the nurse's office, the school nurse is surrounded by zombies. To her surprise, Siko Busujima saves her. She is the Kendo Club president and can therefore handle the zombies with ease. A swarm of zombies approaches Seiya and Kota, but Kota pieces together a nail gun. Takashi and Rei escape the rooftop by using the water hose to push the zombies away, and quickly make their way through the rest of the zombies. As Kota runs out of ammunition and Seiya starts to buckle under the pressure, the other survivors join them to take out the zombies. They go to the staff room and make plans to journey to Takashi's house to check on the safety of their families. Siko turns on the television and they learn that the outbreak is much worse than they thought. After encountering another group of survivors, Takashi tests a theory on avoiding the zombies based on how they can only react to sound. And it turns out that it is true. All of the survivors silently move around. However, when one of the survivors accidentally makes a sound, they have to fight through a horde on the way to the bus, losing some survivors in the process. When they spot another group of survivors approaching, Rei recognizes one of the teachers, Koichi Shido, and is hesitant about letting him on board. After breaking out of the school, Rei becomes defiant about Shido appointing himself as the leader and runs off the bus. As Takashi goes after her, a bus filled with zombies crashes and traps them in a tunnel, forcing them to meet up with the other survivors later. After defeating a zombie motorcyclist, Takashi and Rei find its motorcycle and head towards the city. As the journey continues, Takashi reflects on past events. After stumbling upon an abandoned police cruiser, Rei's sharp eye leads to the discovery of a cache of weapons left behind by the officers. Their next stop is at a gas station to get their tank refilled. Rei quickly gets taken hostage by a survivor with a knife. Takashi tells him to leave her, but the man calls Rei cute and touches plot. He tries to get closer to him, but the survivor points his knife at him. Takashi acts quickly and uses his firearm to take down the survivor. Real smart of you, Takashi, to use a gun in front of a gas pump. Takashi and Rei refill their motorbike and get back on the road, leaving the survivor to perish at the hands of the approaching zombies. At Kansai International Airport, Rika Minami and her squad from the Special Assault Team helps in the evacuation of civilians by clearing zombies at the runway. Meanwhile, after escaping from a war zone between mad survivors and zombies, Takashi and Rei learn that all of the bridges have been blocked by the police and military to prevent infected civilians from coming in. The girls and Kota decide to leave the bus after Shido starts a cult. They then travel to Monbetsu Bridge, where they run into more zombies and are saved by Takashi and Rei, who show up just in time. Shizuka recommends they spend the night at her friend Rika's apartment after spotting a Humvee parked outside and realizing they need a place to rest for the night. The group enters the building to fight the zombies who have taken over the place. The girls take a bath to relax once the flat has been emptied. Seiya asks Siko why they aren't wearing plot armor in front of each other. Siko says that it's okay since they're all girls. The boys go over the household's arsenal of guns and ammo. Meanwhile, the police at the blockade are coming under pressure from both the zombies and the civilians trying to escape them. With no help coming from headquarters, the police are ordered to use deadly force to maintain order at the blockade. They turn the TV off, but a drunk Shizuka approaches the two. For some reason, she isn't wearing any plot armor. Rei appears as well, and she clearly had too many drinks as well. Takashi puts the two girls to sleep. He goes to the kitchen, where he sees Siko's SS rank plot. He is impressed by her plot rank but plays it cool. Rei wakes up and the two are about to make plot for the first time, but they're interrupted by a barking dog that attracts a horde of zombies. While Takashi and others keep their lights low while surveying the situation, a man tries to find shelter for his daughter, Alice Mercado, but is killed by paranoid survivors. When Alice's screams attract the zombies, Takashi decides to go to rescue her while Koda provides sniper support. Meanwhile, the girls, deciding they can no longer stay at the apartment, prepare to load up the Humvee to move on. With the streets filled with zombies, Takashi, along with Alice and the dog, carefully crosses the top of the fence until the others arrive to help them. Once reunited, they all decide to head towards the other side of the river. The zombies manage to infiltrate Air Force One, with the chairman and the president being infected. The chairman begs the president to launch their ICBMs as he is finished off before turning into a zombie. Takashi's group reaches the other side of the river, free of any civilians or zombies. The girls put on their plot armor while Takashi and Koda get familiar with their new weapons. They decide to head towards Seiya's house first since it is nearby. They start to find more zombies as they approach their destination, and an unexpected wire barrier causes Rei to fall off the Humvee. The others have to deal with unfamiliar weapons and their own courage in order to fend off the zombies. Outnumbered, Takashi and Seiko try to lead them away, but they are still drawn towards the direction of the others. As things look bad, they are assisted by a group of firefighters led by Seiya's mother, Yuriko Takagi, while Takashi and Seiko are separated from the rest. They go to Seiya's house where they find a cool jeep and use it to help evade the zombies and drive into a river. However, Seiko gets wet because of this and therefore has to change her clothes. Later, they abandon their car in a park fountain to lure the zombies while Seiko attacks them. But she becomes paralyzed when she comes across some zombie children, forcing Takashi to help her. They decide to set up camp in a shrine. Seiko opens up that she almost killed a rapist 4 years ago yet enjoyed it, saying she hasn't changed since that day and does not deserve love. The next morning, as zombies start to surround them, Seiko gives in and chooses not to resist since she hates her sadistic nature. Takashi touches her plot and tells her that he has always admired her, giving her the motivation to defeat the zombies with a real sword. The two reach Seiya's home safely after acknowledging their dark pasts. Having spent a day at Seiya's mansion, which has been heavily fortified, the group needs to decide if they should stick with her family and staff and be treated as kids or go off on their own and retain their independence. Seiya is mad at her father for presuming she was dead during the outbreak, but Takashi snaps at her since her parents are proven to be alive, which calms her down. Seiya's father, Soichiro Takagi, a Japanese right-wing nationalist politician, arrives and executes his zombie friend in front of the survivors at the mansion to show them their current situation. Koda won't hand up his weapons to Soichiro's men because he doesn't want to lose them and become useless again. When Soichiro arrives to question Koda, the others come to his defense. Seiya tells her father that unlike him, Koda was protecting her all this time. Meanwhile, one of the students reports the situation at the mansion to the teacher. A group of survivors who are refusing to accept their current crisis is calmed down to Takashi's amazement. The others choose him as the leader. Later, in appreciation for guarding his daughter and to show his appreciation to Seiko's father for educating him, Soichiro presents Seiko with a priceless katana. As the group makes plans to go and rescue their remaining families, Shido and his followers arrive at the mansion, to which an angry Rei charges up to him with her bayonet. Rei reveals she hates Shido because his father, a corrupt politician, asked him to force Rei to repeat a year as revenge against her father, who was investigating him for corruption. Soichiro arrives and tells Rei that Shido's fate is in her hands, but Rei decides he is not worth killing. Soichiro immediately makes Shido and his followers leave. Elsewhere, a US submarine has been given orders by the president to launch a nuclear strike at China, North Korea, and Russia. The crew at the International Space Station watch in horror as both the US and Russia launch their ICBMs at each other. Due to the EMP burst from the nuclear explosion, machines and electronics near the blast break down, which causes Shido's bus to crash and destroy one of the barricades. With a giant horde of zombies coming to the mansion, Soichiro orders the main gate to be closed, but the overwhelming zombies breach the gate, causing panic among the survivors and several casualties. With the mansion no longer safe, the Takagis order their followers and the remaining survivors to fight and head to another safe area that has yet to be breached. The Takagis leave Seiya's safety to Takashi, and the group as they fight their way to the Humvee, which was not affected by the EMP. With their ride fixed, the group leaves the mansion while the survivors fight off the horde. Despite the situation, the group remains optimistic as they finally arrive at a mall on foot. If you got this far in the video, comment "Rip Takashi. He didn't even get plot." Watch one of the following videos and have a nice day.